Honorable Emeka Ihedioha doesn't have to be governor of Imo State to be victorious. In the hearts and minds of the people of Imo State, and even in the hearts and minds of those with stolen mandates, Ihedioha is victorious. In a few days' time, the integrity of the Supreme Court of Nigeria would once again be put to the test. Granted that Hope Uzodinma somehow produced enough evidence to prove that he won the election, and as such, the Supreme Court could be said to be working with evidence presented. The world is eager to see how they will interpret the Philip Umadi case that has been brought before it. On one hand, the Supreme Court ruled that Uche Nwosu won the APC primaries and was the authentic candidate of the party. Yet, on the other hand, the same Supreme Court is declaring Senator Hope Uzodinma the winner of an election. He clearly, by the ruling of the Supreme Court, didn't contest in. If he did contest, under what party? Remember, the Supreme Court tells us that Uche Nwosu is the candidate of the APC and AA, and for holding dual candidacy, he and the two parties he held their tickets were disqualified. How then did Hope Uzodinma emerge from a disqualified APC? This is a mystery the Supreme Court would supposedly help us unravel. And the test of integrity on our judicial system, which a lot of people have seemingly lost hope in as the last line of defense of the common man. But Ihedioha remains victorious in the sight of God and in the sight of man. Ihedioha is the governor of Imo State. When anybody steals something, he knows in his heart that he is not the owner of that which is in his possession. They still know that the real owner of that thing, they still know the person, even though it is in their temporary possession. And because that thing is not yours, you cannot force acceptance from the people, which is why Imo people act like they have no governor. After months of personal time, Ihedioha returned to Imo and reaffirmed the fact that he is the governor of Imo State, no matter whoever is occupying the office at Douglas House. The people trooped into the streets to welcome him. There was genuine show of love from the people, and Ihedioha didn't hire anybody to welcome him. They came freely to welcome their champion. To counter Ihedioha's welcome, the imposter paid a faceless group to replicate the welcome, but their effort failed, and we were later to hear how they quarreled over sharing on mobilization money. I didn't vote for Ihedioha. I've never voted for him. Neither have supported him before, despite the fact that he personally reached out to me to partner with him for the good of our people. But Imo people voted for him. Imo people gave him their mandate, and whatever I have voted, or whether I have voted for him or not, is immaterial. The people's choice is what matters. So Ndimo, Ihedioha remains victorious. Like I said, Ihedioha doesn't need governorship to be victorious, but as there is God on the throne, anything can happen, and God can touch our people to save the name of the country from further shaming by doing the right thing. Usually when corruption is done, somebody will say, this is Nigeria. Isn't it time we start changing the narrative? Can one man reduce the entire Supreme Court of a nation to ridicule? They have made efforts to dodge this case. They have made efforts to throw it out. They have bought time to cook up another angle or story. The world is watching them. The people are watching them. In a few days, they will either prove to the world that this administration means business in its fight against corruption, or ridicule the entire nation the more. But in whatever happens, Right Honorable Emeka Ihedioha remains victorious. My personal prayer for Ihedioha today is that he will never again lose his possession. No man shall take that which belongs to him. God is still very interested in working for Imo State through Ihedioha. Okay. We've heard all of this. There's something that we usually talk about. They say water we go, person go drink, go pass person. if you want to look it from the other angle. And I quite agree with this writer saying that if you have stolen something, you know that you might be in possession of that thing temporarily, but you can be claiming it. But everybody, some people say we know what we know. So if you have stolen something and you think you are holding that in and you are using it to rub people on their faces, or you are not supposed to be there. Fine, everyone has conscience, no matter how hard they try to put up bold faces to say nothing they happen. Forget it, nothing they happen. But you know within yourself that something they happen. You can never cheat your conscience. Well, all being said, like they always say, water wey person go drink, the pass person. The pass person. So maybe no be in water, maybe the water never reach to drink. But from all indication, they will tell you that a Supreme Court is supreme and there's nothing anybody can do about it. They cannot reverse the case. They are not God. It's only God that will say, oh, how do they put it? It is God that will say, and it's when he says something is final, it's final. So the power is being arrogated to Supreme Court that they cannot change or they cannot make mistake, even if they have made mistake, that they cannot reverse their verdicts. That is what we see here. But anything goes in this country. Talking about the judiciary should to make sure that they get that respect back. Forget it. Corruption. It's only in most of the time, isolated cases, you see that they just do some things, out of maybe how many percentage you see that, okay, yes, they have done something. But most of the time, people are not really always happy with the judgment that comes out of most of all these cases. Recently, Professor Issei Sage is marking is preparing to mark or is marked his 80th birthday, and he's the one in charge of corruption stuff at the presidency. And he came out and said, "Oh, the corruption is progressively worse now." So what does that tell one? And they are the ones in charge of fighting corruption here and there. If he can say that, and it's part of it's his son. So I don't think that people really want to change. And just like the writer said, for how long are we going to continue with this narrative? Yeah, my beg, not be Nigerian factor. When we go change, definitely people always say, oh, even the people themselves, the masses themselves, they are always this, they are always that. No, I don't believe that, because the change we are talking about must start from the top. It must start from the top. You cannot have your children and you see your children all of just like that. They will be well behaved. You as a parent, you must have put in something. You must have, and you live by example. You cannot tell your children not to lie, and every time they see you lie. They will just be laughing at you, even if you want to try to intimidate them not to talk. But they know what they know within themselves, that these our parents are not even up to what they are even telling us. You have to put the children right where they belong. Go to all these developed country, you see that they are always law abiding. It's a lie, because there is this enforcement. There is this everybody, nobody's above the law. If you do anyhow, you see anyhow. The tendency as human being is always there to misbehave. It's always there. But because if you have a good system, it will be able to curb everybody. The system we are talking about is not the system that it favors the so-called privileged, or the rich, or those who are influential. But they will say, do you know who I am? That is the terminology. Do you know who I am? No, we are not talking about that. Go to all of those places. They are not nice at all. The people are not nice at all. But because the so-called leaders, they've made it a mandate. They made it compulsory that this is what we are going to do, irrespective of whose us is God. If you do anyhow, you see anyhow. So that is how it is. If the leaders, they will tell you, after all, the leaders are from the people. I disagree with that. Of course, we are from the people, but you want to. We already there's a standard that if you are going into leadership, you must maintain that standard. You must fit in. If you be Agberu, and if you want to go into that system, you will know that you have to refine yourself. You have to be refined. You try to bring yourself to that level of integrity. But what do we have? And by the time you get there, you must abide with that. And at the end of the day, it will not trickle down. Let me tell you, in the whole world, as human being, people will still definitely misbehave. So you think in all those developed countries that we always talk about, you think they just woke up one day and they begin to behave the way they are behaving, or they keep things to the way they keep things, they do things? No. Some people who are, if you assume, if you think that you are a leader, that there's a level of or trust and integrity that you must maintain. But what do we have here? The so-called, those people are supposed to be leading by examples and they will be misbehaving. Of course, the rest people, they will begin to do the same thing. When you hear about this padding, you know, all of a sudden I just got to understand that, you know, when you ask people to do something for you, they are maybe just, you know, within your friends or within your neighborhood or people around that you want to do business with, something that will tell you maybe that will cost 5 naira, they will tell you, oh, they'll say, it is 30 naira or 40 naira. I was like, where did all this whatever just to inflate things unnecessarily? I don't know. It came from all this padding because people are seeing all those civil servants that are working with all these governments, all these politicians. They are seeing all of those people doing all manner of things, and it will trickle down. No matter what you think, it does not have an effect. We have a system that is supposed to be well respected. Do they respect it? They will just go there and do whatever they want to do. So when you talk about our judiciary, and God, it's just in most isolated cases that you see that they just do some things, but most of the time, it's not always palatable. So let's see what becomes of Hope Uzodinma. You know, he has case with the Supreme Court again. They want to go and know whether he's fit or he's not fit. So guys, leave your comment below and let's know your thoughts on this.